Merkel Media.
He put it in park, threw open the driver's door, ran out the side of the car, across the front of it, and jumped right off the side of the bridge in front of me.
The only people who really pulled over were truckers.
He said, we're going Hodge, and he didn't slow down. He went across the median onto the oncoming traffic, but where they could see him coming, they just got out of the way.
I noticed this plane was really low. It went right in front of us, hit the fence, and it spun around. 30 seconds more, he could have hit us.
And I went around that truck, and a guy stepped out from behind the truck and threw a piece of wood, and it shot through my window just like a spear and stuck in the back of the cab of my truck.
That's probably one of the stranger things I've seen.
Yeah, that's interesting. We can just keep talking. I just figured I'd hit the thing where we're going to see her shoot the breeze, and then we'll do an intro at some point.
Okay.
The breeze.
Put the microphone up to me.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea. No, I didn't even know. I never even heard of that. I never heard of Toro, like Toro.
Turo.
Oh,
I think
okay.
it is.
Turo.
Yeah, it's interesting. If you just go on the app, you just put in your address.
Yeah.
And then you can.
Yeah, you can rent out the 94 Ranger.
93 Ranger. If you can start it, you can ride it. Yeah.
It's not just fancy cars. You can rent anything on there. You get like Hyundai Elantras or Honda Civics, whatever. You just need a car for if you're in town instead of going through a rental agency. But you still got to have, I guess you got to run through a credit. I never signed up for the, an account or anything.
Right.
I just go on the app to see. Because my wife and I were thinking about renting a Cybertruck for like a week when I'm on vacation. Because we enjoy driving it, but it's never something I'm going to want to own.
Yeah?
I'd buy.
I'm curious. I'm just curious.
I'd buy them if I want an electric.
I'm not being picky. I was just curious.
If I buy an electric truck, it'll probably be a Ford. The Ford F-150 Lightning.
Is that the Lightning?
Yeah, it's an F-150.
Yeah.
You walking up to it, you can't tell. Yeah, except down the back it'll say Lightning, but it's a truck. That Cybertruck. I mean, that you got to really like the way it looks.
You do. Yeah, it's very futuristic looking. It kind of like it looks like a 1960 or 70s sci-fi movie. Crazy truck, you know what I mean? It has that look.
I think it looks like a dumpster. I hate the way I don't like the way it looks at all.
So
inside though, man, that is a nice. It's comfortable.
Yeah.
It's really everything.
I wonder why they went with that body style. Then.
Well, he wants to be different.
I mean, different. But I mean, it just seems so so strange. Different.
Elon Musk at Tesla and a lot of their designers are like, if you say you'll never be able to do that. Here, hold my beer, and then they go and do stupid.
And
crap.
they do it.
That's why you got
challenge accepted.
I think that's why the SpaceX even exists. Somebody told Elon, "You'll never be able to put a rocket in space." He goes, "Really? Okay." Trillions of dollars later, that he's more successful at that than NASA, or anybody else in the world.
That's a crazy thing.
He's bringing
He's
internet.
even catching them.
He's bringing internet into the to the entire planet,
to the world. Yeah.
Look at Boeing put their spaceship up last year and
drop some in Lower Nazareth. Get rid of AOL.
So you have AOL. Well,
you can get Starlink right now.
Yes, you can.
It's available. It's you guys. I think the startup is a little expensive. You got to buy the receiver, which is just like a square you can mount on your roof or on a whatever you can do.
Wow, so it's not even like a dish shape.
No, it looks like a little. It's a rectangle that you just got to point. Whatever direction's got to be pointed.
Towards a star.
Yeah, you can just mount it to your roof, or I mean, I've seen them on the back of trucks. Truck drivers have them because they're not big. They're not like the old satellite dishes and stuff. They're really small units and they're relatively portable. You got to have a decent power, I think, to power them. But most of the trucks come with inverters and stuff. But yeah, it's pretty incredible, and the speeds are just as fast as high speed internet.
And I mean, how do they do? Like when you see some of the satellite internet type of stuff. They can lose. It's like getting like satellite TV. You could lose signal in the snowstorm.
Yeah, I'm sure they're subject to some atmospheric. Yeah, because I had direct TV, and if it was raining real hard, well, just not watching TV tonight.
Yeah, we had direct TV and we had Dish, and neither one we really didn't have many problems. Every now and then it would pixelate if it was raining.
Yeah, raining or
snowing. I don't know if it was just we were in a good spot, which I can't imagine because I can't even get phone signal here.
Well. That doesn't matter. It's just if that satellite receiver or if the atmosphere or something blocking it.
Yeah.
What used to screw mine up, the way it was sitting and the way at my house, the edge of my house, it would build up on snow on the dish, and then it just wouldn't. I had to go up there and smack it with a broom, and I waxed it.
Spray Pam or something.
So I actually waxed it so it would come off a little easier. I didn't use Pam, but I used car wax to get on there. Because
I wonder would.
Speaking of which, they found a.
Hey, you got talking to your microphone there.
The mother's mag polish.
Oh yeah.
Okay. It cleans up headlights like it's nobody's business
on the trucks or on your car.
Whatever.
You mean like?
Yeah,
it takes the frosting off of it.
Yeah, the cataract headlights. Yeah,
isn't that a little harsh though? I guess if you polish
got all the grit in there.
Yeah,
you put it on. By the time you wipe it off, you wipe it off as soon as you put it on. Done.
They always said toothpaste works too with that. I never tried it. I actually
I tried it on somebody else's car. I wouldn't try it on my own.
Did it work?
Yeah,
it worked on their car. And it's like the paste, right? It's the
if
paste
I had
stuff.
a buffer, I think I got
it real nice.
Everything out.
Almost brand new.
It was just hands. Do this light, do this, done.
I did it. I did,
and that's the pasty one, right? The mother's paste. It's not like the spritzy.
Yeah, no, yeah, cleaner. It's the mag wheel.
Yeah.
Paste.
If you use it on aluminum and stuff, it turns black when you're really polished. I used to use it for the motorcycle.
When you're getting the oxide out of the aluminum.
Wow.
I know.
Cool. It worked out. I'm going to try it on my Ford now. Next.
Yeah. I bought the kit. The headlight.
Kit.
I did that with those. Gives you sandpaper to wet sand it.
Yeah. You start with the thing and clean it.
It worked pretty good. I mean, it's never 100%, but
Michelle's one headlight is so far gone that I don't think anything's going to help it. I mean, it's like it's opaque. I mean,
I'm sure if you sand that off, you could probably.
I looked them up on Amazon. I get the whole assembly for like $139 for both.
Oh well, there you go.
But they might leak. They might leak water. They might get the condensation on the inside.
Well, before you put them on, you just put a little extra sealant all the way around.
Just give it a wet test. Put water in it and see if it leaks out.
There you go. Or you can just do the preemptive thing. Drill a hole in the bottom of the headlight assembly. So if water does get in there, it just drips out.
There you go. See, that's it. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's worth trying to do it the other way. If it's worth trying to do it with because it's really the one headlight is just so bad. I mean, you can't even see the headlight.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what. After I use that, you probably get it right out, get it clear.
Just try that. Man, we'll give it a shot.
It might work.
I actually opened up mine, and I know it froze at one point. I just took my finger and everything around. Oh, we're good. Done.
That's I do that every year. Like in December 1st, I take all the chemicals I have for doing all the cars down in the basement. They go because my garage. My garage isn't heated or anything, and I already did that. I spent like $50 on different stuff to do the cars, and it was a brick. I guess it was all right. I think I used most of it again, but some of the waxes they don't come back once they freeze up like that. It says right on the bottle, prevent from freezing. So
it's
PPF. You got to put one of them tags on it from work.
That's why when you go and get these newer cars, a lot of people are putting the PPF film on the headlights.
Yeah,
because that keeps it from oxidizing up and everything. Because my wife's car is a 2016, and we had the PPF on. We got it when it was used, 2 years old, but it was still good then, and her headlights look brand new yet. Because you can always just peel that film off, throw it out, even if it starts looking crappy. And your headlight underneath is brand new. Put a new piece of film on, and they don't ever. But your wife has a Nissan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, those old Nissans, they were famous for that. My wife's Altima, she had that 2010 Altima, and they were starting to get the cataract.
Yep.
On top, they just use cheap plastics.
They do, and that's why I know if it's worth actually trying to do it, or if it's Well, I'll give it a whirl.
Well, I know this only took me 5 minutes of light.
Yeah, you can't. You can't. Even if you
get a shot.
Yeah, even if you're going
$10 for the what do you call it?
If you go screw it up, you go buy the new headlights.
I was looking up the mother's mag wheel, so I knew what it looked like when I go to the store to get it. If you're gonna give it a whirl.
Yeah, it's not expensive. It's like what, $4 or $5 for the little. Oh, really?
Yeah, no, I think the one that they had.
Last time
$5.40.
Yeah, last time I bought it was at the AutoZone.
AutoZone is $9.99. Walmart it's $5.40.
Oh, that's much better.
So whatever.
I don't have anything
stuff for the headlights. For mother's power plastic, for headlight plastic.
That's all that stuff. Time I used it was I bought the kit. I think I bought it from Amazon. I bought a kit to do the headlights, and it came out nice, but not perfect. But I also got kind of scared. You don't want to go after it too much. You start taking, you want to remove a little bit of the haze in there. You don't want to take off like a large layer of plastic.
And you just got like a little layer of saran wrap between the inside and outside.
Somebody tried to do that on 1999 when I was off for 3 weeks on one of my September. I came back, you could see somebody tried to make the headlights bright again.
Right.
And then I don't know who did it because I was off for so long, but man, that one, especially on the passenger side, it was useless.
Really?
It was so bad. They screwed it up. So I mean, the headlights were not great to begin with.
Yeah.
But then
I don't even bother touching that stuff at work. It's like I'm not ever going to do that.
Luckily, I whacked the deer, and then they had to put a new hood on. Put a new hood on, 2 new headlights. It's great.
That's what you got to, every now and then you got to hit a deer. But, that's all right. It works. It works. Well,
No, I had 1536, and I actually wrote up that headlights have cataracts, and they actually changed them out.
Did they?
You didn't have to hit anything.
I was surprised this year too with the native shops getting a little better. Remember just last year we had that long dry spell.
Yeah.
No rain. So I didn't drive in rain forever. I knew my tires were getting bad on the back axle.
Right.
That first time it rained, all I do is tap the accelerator. ATC light come on. They were just spinning.
Yep.
That first time I rode it up, I said I have zero wet traction. The next day I came in, brand new set of tires on the back axle. I was
just one axle.
Yeah, well the ones in the front were pretty good. Yeah, they just replaced them.
Yeah. Not
that long ago. So I was happy going into this winter.
Yeah,
I had 8 newer tires on the back there.
Yep, they put new ones on mine. As far as they had put newer ones on, I don't know if it's the beginning of summer or something like that, or in late spring, and then they put another set on the other axle. It was later on, and then I want to say it was September, October. They took it in. They put new steer tires on it. Ooh. I was like, wow, which was really nice. I mean, you start the winter off with nice,
it's rare when
tread.
You start getting, and December comes around, you're looking at your tires and going, I don't know, these aren't looking so good, but they're still legal. But
yeah. So I get it. I get that. 100%. That's one of those things that worries you. Yeah, that's one of those things that you look at and you're like, I don't know, man. It's the tires, and I get it. They're expensive. I get it. Tires are expensive, but
so are tow bills, like you said before.
It's cost averaging, which is more expensive, getting sued because somebody, you can stop or whatever.
Excuse me, it would just be our fault because we shouldn't have taken the truck out if we knew.
Right. I know.
That's when the fuel filter clogged up when it was that stupid cold a couple of years back.
Yeah.
And if it was, I think, was it right before Christmas? I don't know when it was, but it was ridiculous, like sub-zero temperature. I was up in New England. I was come back from Sutton. And I knew I went over to fuel filter to get a fuel filter because it was full. We don't have any. So I was running it for like 3 days with this thing all the way up. Finally I left Sutton, came back. I made it as far as the service plaza right before you get back on 84 off of 90. It's a service plaza.
Yep.
I made it in there I was doing 5 miles an hour on 90.
Wow, yeah, it's got nothing. It
had no power.
Circulate any.
The truck would run, thank God, because it was so cold. It would run, but I had no power. Mm-hmm. And I sat there for 6.5 hours because it was 3 a.m. The only place they could get this specific filter was from the Mac dealer, which didn't open till 8. And I didn't get back. I think I got back like 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Wow.
If I would have known how long I was going to be there, I would have went off duty, and then I would have been able. But I was so far past. But they told me to bring it in. They said just bring it in because I couldn't find a hotel either.
Right.
I stopped at 2 different hotels that we can't park your truck here. Well, then I can't stay here. What am I supposed to do?
Where do we go? Right.
I started heading back, and then when I ran out on right at 287.78, that's where I was completely out of time.
Wow,
that's pretty far away from the terminal. They told me bring it in. As long as you feel okay. I'm far too pissed off to be tired.
Yep.
This day is shot. My whole weekend is shot.
Yep.
So I brought it in. It was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I finally made it back.
Wow.
Because we couldn't. It wasn't our shop's fault. I know I got in a little tiff with the mechanic at our shop. It's like, I'm not blaming you guys. I know you can't get them.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous that things you need for a trucking company you can't get.
Right.
I know it's supply chain and all that stuff, but there are, and he said, well, then you shouldn't have taken the truck out. This is my signed truck. You guys are telling us it's okay to run.
You're saying it's right. If you say it's okay to run, Yeah.
So I try not to, because I put it up on Facebook how pissed off I was, and then he saw it.
And I don't like to, like anybody else. I don't want to, don't want to give anybody a bad name or anything else.
But I wasn't even yelling at. I wasn't saying anything bad about our guys in Allentown. I know the constraints they're running on.
Yeah,
can't get parts, can't get this.
Yeah,
everything's got to come from Pittsburgh. They can't just run down the street and buy them from the Mac dealer in Allentown. No, it's got to come from Pittsburgh.
Right.
So it's.
I'm still waiting to hear from the fleet manager, VP, about coming on the show. I mean, I texted him. Yeah, for Pitt.
Wow.
That'd be a good question.
I'm sure it has something to do with they buy in bulk.
But it'd still be an interesting conversation to have.
They buy in bulk.
An interesting conversation.
They probably pay a dollar or two cheper for this part
per filter or whatever.
Yeah. If you buy 100 of them and then they distribute them to the
and I don't have a problem with that. I get it. We understand the frustrations that go with it.
But then we
have to deal with it then.
That fuel filter now costs how much money? Because you're paying me for 6 or 7 hours of sitting there.
Yep.
You're paying that road guy who had to come
service you.
He had to show up at like 2:30 in the morning, 3:00. He says, "All right, I'm gonna go get the filter." Well, he gives me a call back. He goes, "I have to wait till 8:00. Mac, that's when the Mac parts open up, and I can't get this filter from." Like he looked at his warehouse. He called a couple few different places. I have to wait till 8:00.
Yeah.
All right. So luckily I was at a service plaza.
Yeah.
So there was food, a bathroom.
Yeah, exactly.
And the truck would run.
And you could sleep in the truck.
Yeah. And he actually told me, don't shut the truck off. He's like, just let it run. It's getting enough fuel. I don't know why. It would have just had I guess prime it because it was so cold. I guess he was afraid.
I would imagine. Yeah.
But, he told me let it, as long as it run, let it go.
Yeah.
But it was so bitterly cold that night. And that's on top of a hill there. The wind blowing.
Yeah.
I mean, the truck was idling that entire time, and it was the heat really wasn't coming out.
Right.
I actually saw the heat on the engine start dropping while it's running. How freaking cold it was.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it's one of those things that we deal with in this industry. It's not easy. Sometimes we deal with the crap. It's just
especially in winter time.
Yeah, it is. This is the time of year where it's like this one. If something goes wrong, it really goes wrong.
That's why I had the over the road guys that are out for weeks or months at a time.
Yeah,
they're driving in the middle of nowhere. And something happens to that truck. And I mean, you see it. You drive around. I just switched from AT&T to T-Mobile. I thought, oh great, finally, I'm rid of AT&T. Their service sucks. T-Mobile's the same way. There's dead spots everywhere, and in places that you think there shouldn't be dead spots. You just drive along for 5-6 miles
because there are spots where I've had T-Mobile forever, and I just I'll hit spots where I've never had a dead spot, and all of a sudden I don't have my signal drops out. I'm talking to my wife or whatever, and not while I'm driving at work. I mean when I'm at home, or if I'm out going to church or going wherever, I gotta go across 662, and there's a dead spot right across 662. I'm like, what? Why is 662? It's like. Doesn't make any sense. My house is a dead spot.
Well, my house is too for AT&T.
Crazy. Yeah, it's nuts.
AT&T used to have their alarm company, AT&T Digital Life. We got it. The guy comes up because the primary is the cell signal, and then they use your internet as a backup in case they can't, for the alarm company.
Right.
He brings this giant box into my house. He mounts it up and he goes to turn it on. He goes, "You don't have any signal here," and I'm in the middle of Allentown.
Right. That's what surprised me.
I said, I know. I told the guy on the phone, I said, I don't have a strong internet. He said, then why would you go with a cell-based? I was like, that's what I was trying to tell the guy. He's like, no. We can do it. It's not a problem. So he ended up hooking up to my internet. But we had problems with that AT&T, before. And then they sold out and they went to Brinks. We have Brinks now for the house security. And they do all better. They're 100%
AT&T or ADT?
AT&T. AT&T, but they bought out some other alarm company.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the name of that. We had them. Life Shield, I think they were called. And then they turned to AT&T Digital Life, and now they closed it down because they weren't making any money. Because we had AT&T cell phone, we had DirecTV, which is also owned by AT&T, and then their alarm company. We were fully in it, and now I am completely out of the AT&T business. I don't have anything from that company.
Yeah, we don't have anything.
They are terrible.
We have T-Mobile. I've had T-Mobile for forever. It was
just had it was a year.
It was all. I've had it since it was Voice Stream, OmniPoint, T-Mobile.
I was just surprised with T-Mobile all the free crap that you can take advantage of.
Yeah,
like I get my Netflix for like $8 a month. There's something else we got like think doesn't cost. Oh, Apple TV. Mm-hmm. We have Apple TV through T-Mobile. It doesn't cost me just my whatever we pay a month, $150, $60,
whatever the bill is. That's included in the bill.
It's all included. I was like, holy crap! And I guess every Tuesday they give free crap away, but I don't have time to.
I don't have time. I never got. Yeah, it's just.
I showed up one time when I was on vacation in September. I was off for 3 weeks. Oh, they're giving away a flashlight. I show up at 9:30 in the morning. Oh, we don't have any more of those flashlights. I think it's 9:30. There's nobody. He's like, well, we only got 4. So you're telling you're telling customers to show up at your store to get free. Right. Like, well, it's to get people into the store so they can upsell you on a new phone.
But they're already your customer. Yeah. If they needed a new phone, they'll be in the door. You know? Because I'm on the borderline of getting a new phone. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I do. Maybe I don't. You know, and I just always hold off.
My wife wanted to because we have the 15 and the 16 just came out. It's supposed to be, they're always supposed to be a little better. But the nightmare we had with the 15 when we hooked them up, because that was the first phone we had. They don't use the SIM cards no more. They're eSIM. It's all electronic SIM cards. Our phone was so old when we had to switch over from that to that. We were at the Apple store for 4 hours trying to get these phones hooked over. They couldn't do it. We left the Apple store with unworking phones.
Wow.
Had to go home, and then the next day we spent another 6 hours on the phone with AT&T and Apple back and forth because one was blaming the other. AT&T was blaming Apple. Apple was blaming AT&T. That entire weekend was us trying to get, and the phones have not been right. Like, wow. My wife had to get a separate Apple ID where it was always my Apple ID, and then all the phones were on the iCloud together.
Sure.
Never a problem. All of a sudden now it's a problem. So my wife, she has to go on iCloud to look at like all of our pictures from vacation and everything, right? Because none of them transfer over to hers. And they're saying, well, they should. Well, I know they should.
Yeah, they should. Why aren't they? Right.
And Apple can't help us.
You can't figure out what's wrong with your own phone. I mean, Apple. You know, it's their phone.
We went on. My wife spent hours on, and she's on the phone, and then can we do the screen sharing? And my wife just automatically says, yes, whatever you need to do.
Right.
Well, then of course the guy opens up our photos and. Not safe for work photo was up of my wife, and the guy goes, he just immediately slammed it shut. Like the screen went black. He goes, I'm sorry, ma'am. If these are the type of photos we're going to see, I was like, well, let's see. All right. Can we
you're not really going to help me?
Go into the settings. I told her she's calling me at work. I was like, go into the settings and see if everything's all right. So they did that.
Right.
But they can't tell us what we need to do to get all the pictures like it used to be.
Right.
You know, every picture, like now, they're linked together in such a way where if I take a picture on my phone, my wife, it'll pop up on my wife's in her library. Wow. And that's what I want. I don't want anything separate. And then they looked at us like we're weird. Well, are you sure you don't want what am I trying to keep from my wife at this point? I want everything together like it's always been.
She knows my password.
Yeah.
She knows. So it's like
my wife and I have the exact same passcode to get in the phone. Her face is in there because we have Face ID.
Yeah, first ID. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, I'm not trying to hide it. I just want it the way it was before. And they said, if I would have known all this, I'd still be rocking my iPhone 11.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that phone had problems. Couldn't keep a charge. The camera wasn't that great and everything. But the problems that we had, and now my wife wants to get the next one. I was like, I don't want to go through this again.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we won't this time. Well, maybe we will. Right. I don't want to deal with it.
Right. Is it worth the chance?
I'm an Apple guy. Everything in my house is Apple. We have Apple TVs on every TV. We have the laptop is a MacBook.
Right.
You know, our old computer. My wife has an iPad. Everything is Apple. I like it, but at this point, I seriously was so upset with this phone. Well, I almost traded in on a Google Pixel or something.
Oh wow!
I was so angry with the phone. I didn't want to deal with it.
Well, it makes you wonder. You know what have they done? What's different? What's changed?
Well, since Steve Jobs isn't there to push the company forward, they're just keeping up with everybody else.
Yeah.
The iPhone used to be the leader.
It was.
You know, Apple was a leader.
They set the standard.
Yeah, and now a lot of the Samsung stuff is way better as far as what it can do.
Yeah.
It's not as seamless. Yeah, you turn on your iPhone, especially if everything's connected to iCloud. I can go in, trade this phone in, 5 minutes later, walk out with all the information on the phone. That's awesome.
Yes.
That I don't have to worry. Do I have to download this again? And it saves all
it's all there.
like all my passwords. If I put passwords in this phone,
over.
I go on my laptop. I go to that website. Boom, that password is just there.
Yep.
You don't have to think about it. But it was just so much of a hassle with these phones.
Yeah, that's crazy. That is so strange. That's enough to make me not. Like, it makes me leery to actually do the change because I'm like I said, I have a 12, and I don't even know what Michelle's is. She has a mini.
Do you have a SIM card in yours? I think on 12 was the first time they did away with the SIM cards because we had an 11 and they said no, or maybe it was a 13 that you had. It was the first time the eSIM, and that was the biggest problem with us. They could not get because the SIM card used to be able to basically take the SIM card out of your phone, pop it in another
the next one,
and it wouldn't have all the information on it, but it would have your phone number, your basic
stuff was there.
So you could make a phone call on another phone. Now they don't do it anymore. It's all eSIM, they called it. The SIM card's built in that can just be transferred over. And
isn't it crazy?
It was just a nightmare. I was so aggravated and pissed off. And I said, I'm never buying another phone again. And that was not this past year. It was 2023 when the 15 first came out.
Wow.
Because I didn't even really want to get a new phone then. But like I said, my wife's phone wouldn't hold a charge anymore. They were getting...
Oh, that's what happens. Over time, you use it, you charge it, and eventually, the ability for it to stay charged.
And now you can't even, I think on these newer ones, you can't even get a battery replaced anymore.
Wow.
Because they glue them into the housing now. They used to just kind of be snapped in.
Mm-hmm.
Now they glue them in, and if you take it apart, your phone, they're going to end up breaking shit. So you can't even get the battery replaced. That's why you buy the Apple Care. We always buy the Apple Care in case something happens, and this doesn't work. Okay, they just give you a new phone.
Yep. That's what we did. It's worth it. It's easier. For me personally, I've never had a problem. Like nothing has ever gone that it isn't wasn't able to fix or whatever. I mean, I've never had a problem with one of my Apple phones to actually take it down to Apple to actually have to have them look at it and say, oh, we need to do this or that. I've never had that.
We've done it a few. I dropped mine. This is before they were like water resistant. I dropped mine. It was on the windowsill. Right above the sink.
Right.
And I think I had it on my wallet. And I'm doing the dishes and I hear this kaplunk. What the hell what was that? I look down, there's my phone. The screen is doing that. We're coming black from the outside, getting small to a dot and then shutting off. So we had I took it to Apple and they said, yep, got wet. Apple Care, here you go.
Yeah.
Gave me a new phone.
That's why, I haven't, knock on wood, never had a problem with it, but I always get it. Because you never know.
Yeah.
Somebody drops it. Even if I'm not holding it, somebody else is holding it, or whatever.
Look at Billy Rambo. He was that one night he went hooked up to a truck. It was a lot of slop in the yard, snow, slush, and everything. I guess he bent down to kick a chalk out from the trailer. His phone fell out, landed in a puddle. He didn't know where it was all night long. He goes out driving around. He comes back in the morning. Just happened to walk over there. There's his phone in the puddle.
Wow.
He pulled it out, that sucker. That was a Verizon. I forget. I think it was a Razor. Those
Get
old
the
Motorola.
heck out.
He said he pulled it out till he dried it off. And he never had a problem. The speaker sounded funny, but other than that, he never he had it for another year. He never had a problem.
Crazy. That's whatever. Yeah. Some guys,
The way my wife drops her phone constantly, she constantly goes in a car. She sits in the seat. She'll put her gloves, her phone, everything in her lap, and then takes the seatbelt. She just goes to get out of the car. Everything's still in her lap, and there goes everything flying. She does it every time. I look over and
that is crazy.
Like if it's her phone, I'll say, "Hey, your phone's on your lap." Oh yeah, but a lot of times I'll let her drop her gloves and everything. I was like, she got to learn, but I don't think she ever will.
It seems like it's something that's just going to be stuck. You're stuck with it, and that's the way it's going to be. Well, welcome to Hammer Lane Legends. I'm Brian Merkel.
Oh, I'm Brian Shipper.
Not paying attention.
Just looking through.
If you have a crazy, just looking through, not paying attention to the show, I know.
Right.
If you have a crazy and wild story you to share with us from the
phone?
road, go ahead and contact us at hammerlanelegends@gmail.com. That's hammerlanelegends, all spelled out, at gmail.com. And go ahead and contact us there. You can go to the webpage, which is brand new. Check out the webpage, the contact section, the store, just a few items in the merch shop. It says shop. And it's the merch. The merch is there.
Merch.
And there's a little bit of news going on there. Articles that I'm posting and stuff like that. Yeah. It's actually it's interactive on my part.
Since you got kicked off of Facebook, you got to interact there.
I know. I got to interact somewhere, because Facebook has been so friendly to me, So check it out. Check out the gear section. Check out the contact section if you want to get a hold of us, or even just send us an email. You can send us an email that tells us whether we're doing a good job or a bad job. Tell Shipper that you love. He's a people person, and he's so much fun, and he's so enjoyable to have around because he's paying attention to the shows, like as always.
Right.
And and let Mike know what kind of a job he's doing.
Yeah.
Let me know what kind of job I'm doing or whatever. Shipper, tell him can you do the buy me a coffee thing?
I don't need it. Buy me a coffee virtual tip jar. I don't know the address.
Follow simple directions. Enjoy.
It's in the show notes.
There you go. Look at the show notes for everything, and then you have to listen to us.
Buy me a coffee /Hammerlane. No, buymeacoffee.com/Hammerlane. That's the address.
That's it.
There you go.
There you go.
And what's the new address on the, what do you come on, Jigger?
He already said that.
Oh, the
Hammerlane Legends at Gmail.
The email, it's hammerlanelegends@gmail.com.
All right. Well,
you can get a hold of us that way. Either way works for us. You can buy us a coffee if you want. If you appreciate the show, we appreciate the encouragement. And, so back to our regular scheduling programming.
Right.
I cannot believe that the holidays are over.
It
is one of those things that I am, and at the same time, it's just, I just can't believe it's over.
I'm still trying to convince her to take the tree down.
Really?
It's still up.
We didn't.
All the other crap is finally down. She did that yesterday.
Yeah.
I think she was hoping that was going to shut me up. And I was like, leave the tree up as long as you want. You're home all day. I'm not.
There you go. Yeah,
but it's like, holy crap. We put it up so early this year, and now it's like,
it's your fault.
2 weeks past Christmas, and the damn thing's still up.
Wow.
And I don't know why. I don't know why it bothered me. It shouldn't. I don't really care one way. I just want my living room back.
I guess that's what it is.
It's a big ass tree, and we have a little living room. I just want everything back to normal.
But
she gets some kind of warm, fuzzy feeling looking at the tree.
You feel all.
She's like, we paid enough for it. We should have it up. Because it was expensive, but still, it ain't gonna be special anymore if we leave it up for 3 months out of the year.
Leave it up. You can put red lights and red bows and everything.
She's already talked about that. Some of her friends do that. They do decorate it for February's Valentine's Day. Then you have March. They do it for St. Patrick's Day.
Green.
Easter. You hang eggs on the damn thing.
But by the time you got it, you can have it up every month.
And by the time you want to take it down, you're a redneck.
And then
I'd believe if you leave the lights on outside.
September, you can take it down for Labor Day. You can do your labor, take it down, and then in 3 months you can put it back up.
I should not leave it up for Arbor Day.
You could leave it up for Arbor Day, and then you can do St. Columbus.
St. Columbus.
He has been boosted up in my book.
I'm sorry, that's Indigenous Peoples Day.
It is Indigenous Peoples Day. In fact, what is today? Let me inform you as to what today's holidays are.
Yes.
Today's holidays are National Spaghetti Day, Trivia Day, World Braille Day, World Hypnotism Day, which Shipper is
National Helen Keller Day. Is what you're saying.
And Earth in Perihelion. I have no idea what that means. Let's find out.
Big words.
It is a big word. Today, the Earth is in its closest distance to the sun. Perihelion.
Pretty freaking cold outside for that to be close to the sun.
Yeah, So anyway, this doesn't exactly mean that we should leave our coats and boots at home. No, we should, because we should live someplace where we can. But that is the holidays for today.
I want to hear one of my grandfather. Speaking of Braille, one of my grandfather's favorite jokes he told like 100 times.
Yeah.
What's the scariest thing a person can read in Braille?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Danger, do not touch. He got such a kick out of that one.
That is funny. That's very true. That's freaking hilarious.
Danger, do not touch. Oh, shit.
Yeah. And here I am touching it. My hands are all over it. I'm just trying to get a feel for things.
Radioactive, do not touch. Oh, boy.
Yeah, we're in trouble now. Well, so much for that. I guess I'm going to be glowing.
Like that, I forget what comedian, but he made a big thing about the Braille on drive-up ATM machines.
Yeah, I forget who it was, but I do remember hearing that.
Yeah, what are you
like? Right. What? Whose crazy idea was that?
They have them in Allentown there at Tillman Square. They have the new People's First, which is my credit union. They have a drive-in in the middle of the parking lot.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't understand. The branch is like right there, but they have these 2 ATM machines where you can drive around in the middle of the parking lot, and they got Braille on them. I was like, who's going to drive? I don't.
Who's driving and using Braille?
Yeah, if you're blind,
that's scary. Yeah,
and you have to use Braille.
Yep. I mean, that's like driving and using a
seeing eye dog
or seeing eye dog.
I mean,
let him drive.
One bark is right.
That's one of those things. That's really weird. That is really weird. But it's hard to believe that the holidays, the holiday season itself is over. It's like it comes and goes so fast anymore. And I don't know if it's just that we're getting older, or if it's that it's, I don't know.
No,
maybe it doesn't seem as important as it used to, or as busy, or
I'm not into it at all. Well, I don't have kids. I never had kids, so I lost that.
And maybe that's part of it. Maybe because we don't have any kids at home anymore.
Yeah, and
so we don't put a tree up. Yeah,
a couple states south.
Yeah, so it's like it's kind of like, well, what's the point?
You didn't even put up a tree or anything.
No, not even a tree. No, very out of the loop. But with Michelle not feeling so good,
yeah,
and the extra stress of doing that kind of stuff, and her standing to help do it or whatever, and it's like, then I wind up having to do it, and I'm like,
Well, I told my wife, I said, if you ever leave me, there won't be any decoration. I'll get the little ceramic tree that we have downstairs.
That'll work.
I'll plop that on the end table or the.
I've even promised myself that. It's in the room over there. I just don't know where it's at. I don't feel like digging for it. I'm like, oh, maybe next year. It's like, I don't know. I mean, I did. I don't know. I don't think I've talked to you guys since Christmas. Did we see each other since Christmas?
I don't think so. I think it was the week before. I think that week before was who's pregnant?
Tanya, my daughter.
Didn't she just have one?
She's knocked up again?
Yep. Yeah. She told us that for Christmas.
Maybe you should have
my daughter shipper.
Maybe you should have the talk with her on how this whole thing works here.
Well, I think this is according to her. That's it too. So
it was a planned thing, not an oops.
Well, it was an oops. I think it was planned, but they were planning on 2, but she wasn't planning on.
Did you let Michelle know that she's got to watch 2 now?
Yeah, because Faye is she's about 9 months old now, I guess.
Wow,
something like that.
Wow, talk about keeping them close together.
Yeah, so by the time
just think they're going to both drive at the same time, just about.
I think this one is
go off to college within a year of each other.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, bills and all that.
Ooh, she got the whole hot summer.
Diapers together, and because Faye's still going to be in diapers this year yet, I would assume. And it's like, wow,
we all know what to get her then. Gift certificate diapers. For diapers.
That's it. Just find out what size.
Well, congratulations, I guess.
But, it ain't no skin off my nose. I'm not going to worry about it. It's not my. I love my kids. I love my grandkids, and it'll be fun.
Give them back spend a few hours with them. Give them back
when they make a mess. It's either Michelle or Tanya. Yeah. So, but yeah, that changed. That was something different over the holidays. That actually, she told us that for Christmas. So that was, Jack was up for Christmas, and
he finally made it last time we did the show. He was on his way there
in transit. Yeah, he finally got here. I want to say it was like 10:30.
Oh, was a UPS package? He's in transit.
Well, it certainly was not a fast track.
Try to get him in transit.
He finally got here, and then he was here until Thursday.
Friday. He said he got a new car. What kind of car did he get?
Got a Hyundai Elantra. He bought a Hyundai Elantra, which I was really happy. I mean, it's a nice car. I actually
new or a used one?
New one. Oh. Yeah, 2024. Well, it was new last year.
Yeah.
But not so much this year.
All right. It's already
old. It's a year old. So
depreciation.
But yeah, he really liked it. He really likes the car, and which I was glad because when mine went down, they gave me a Hyundai Elantra to use for a loaner, a brand new, and I was like,
I remember Hyundai first came to the States back in the late 80s. The Hyundai Elantra was one of the first cars they brought here, and it was a hunk of
certainly was.
They were disposable cars.
Yes, they were. Ran out of gas, get a new one.
Yeah, pretty much.
Run the tank empty.
They were bad. They were bad cars. Now in the past
they had
10, 15 years. Ever since they did the 100,000 mile powertrain warranty, then they started to get better and better and better. And now they're some of the nicer cars for, that are low consumer cars that are out there. They aren't high end luxury cars. Hyundai has been anything there, and their hybrids are just as good as Toyotas and Hondas. They're killing it with their hybrid game.
Wow. I've seen a lot of those Ions around. Ionic.
Those are fully electric.
Yeah. And then they have what's their
They have an Ioniq 5 is their hatchback, and the Ioniq 6 is their weird futuristic looking car.
That's the one I saw. Is the futuristic goofy
ugly
looking
as crap, but it's really
goofy
efficient.
Thing, yeah.
That's
cool.
It's an odd looking car. I never drove them. I did drive the Ioniq 5. That was the one that was before I bought the Tesla. That's the one I was leaning towards.
Yeah,
was that one because I really liked it, but I just didn't like some of the software and everything. The Tesla won out for software and price. I got an all-wheel drive. I got that car for under 40.
Wow.
Where, Hyundais, they're not made in the U.S. They are now. They just started a couple months ago, started making them down in Georgia.
Oh, no kidding.
Or I think it's Georgia. Somewhere in the South.
Okay.
And now they're made here in the U.S. So now I would consider it a little bit more. But, they're nice cars. And everything they're bringing to the U.S., they're one of the only other companies besides Tesla making money on EVs. Nobody else is.
Wow.
Ford and GM, I think GM might be starting, but Ford's still losing like $40,000 for every car they sell. They lose.
Wow.
Rivian, the pickup trucks, they're still losing like $30,000 for every car they sell. They lose $30,000. Wow. It's research and development, and they're not cranking out 125,000, 200,000 of these trucks every year.
Right.
That's where you get your economy of scale. That's why Ford makes almost 1 million F-150s a year.
Wow.
That's their profit margins on those trucks are huge.
Well, how's their the Lightning that selling for?
Depends on who you talk to. Some people are saying it's a complete and utter failure. Other people are saying it's one of the best trucks out there. I don't know. Their sales aren't real great.
They're not solid yet
because they're too expensive.
How much are they?
To get the mid, like if you get the work truck starts at like 57,000, and by work truck that is bare bones, minimal, vinyl seats, vinyl flooring, no creature comforts whatsoever.
Right.
As they're like 56, 57,000, and then to get one nice loaded up, the one that I test drove was $82,000, and it didn't have all the bells and whistles.
That's the full electric one, right?
Yeah, they're bumping up around $100,000 if you want them full. And then GM just came out with their Silverado. Or a truck, and that's going. I think that starts at like $76,000 because they're all battery. You're paying for the battery on them. They can go 450 miles is the range on those things.
Wow!
So you can actually tow them, 200 miles, 250 miles if you're towing. That's why they put these giant batteries. The batteries in those, they weigh more than your car probably.
No kidding.
The battery in the Hummer, which is like 240 some kilowatt, they weighed more than a Honda Civic.
Wow. That is freaking crazy.
That's where all your expenses coming in because a lot of the batteries have to be, or the materials anyway, have to be imported. We don't have a big supply chain in the U.S.
Wow. When are you going to buy your ship?
No.
Do they come in like the big dually?
No. It's only the F-150 for now. I know Ford's working on hybrids for the Super Duties. They're going to put because they have some big engines, like gas engines for the if you don't want the diesel. They have something called a Godzilla engine. I think it's like 7.2 liter V8. It's a huge gas engine. So that they're working on putting hybridization in for the big Super Duties.
Wow.
To get better fuel economy and everything.
I know everybody's going to complain about us talking about EVs, but I don't really care. That's an interesting subject. I still think it's an interesting thing.
Speaking of EVs, where Harrisburg's getting their
they're supposed to be getting their electric trucks. So. They're coming in. It's supposed to be January. Do you know when they're actually getting them?
Well, they're doing all the
preliminary
setting up for everything. So
what do they actually got to put in? I mean, I imagine they got to put in.
They got to put in a bigger
charging station,
a transformer,
to power.
Yeah,
for the charging
to charge it.
Yeah, and that takes a while. So sometimes it takes up 2 years to get a transformer from the utilities because they're so backlogged.
No kidding.
Because it's not just electric vehicles, but it's anything.
Well, that's what they said.
That's true. Yeah,
last year.
That's a good point.
Last year when we were at the rodeo, they said it would be a year or so.
Speaking of the rodeo,
right?
Speaking of Harrisburg,
so, do they get everything hooked up, or do we get that video? Jack,
that is a.
Did somebody accidentally delete the video?
I don't know. I literally have everything on my phone yet.
Really?
I have every video from it. I have all the videos, all the pieces. I'm just waiting to get it all put together.
Make have a watch party at this year's rodeo.
That's right.
This is last year's.
Hey, truckers, ever find yourself miles from home and running low on your daily meds? Don't worry, we've got your back. Meet Refill Genie, the telehealth service designed just for folks like us who are always on the move. Whether you're crossing state lines or hauling coast to coast, Refill Genie connects you with a licensed doctor to refill your existing prescriptions hassle-free. No more detours or long waits at the clinic. Just hop online and get your meds and keep on trucking. Use code HLL for a 15% off your order. So head over to refillgenie.com and keep your health in gear wherever the road takes you.
You almost hope it comes in at least early enough to start getting people intrigued.
Yeah.
So that the company can use it and say, hey, yeah, this is the video. This is how it is. This is what we do.
I'd like to see it because I've never been to one.
Yeah, I can show you on the phone. I literally, I have everything is saved on my phone.
And that's probably why your phone's crapping. Because
I've got all that on it. Yeah.
Storage full.
Yeah. Probably.
Well, I guess I'm deleting the rodeo.
Yeah, it's out.
Or no, they don't call it a rodeo, did they?
Truck driving championship.
There you go.
TDC.
They used to call them truck driving rodeos.
Rodeos, yeah, we used to call them rodeos and all that. But yeah, I'd love to see that. And I'm hoping. I was just talking to Jack today about it. So, no promises. Because I'm not going down that road.
No promises, a lot of delay.
Yeah, exactly. And so I just want to see
infrastructure issues. We can't get it done.
I literally just want to see it done. I just put it together. Just put it together.
Yeah, I heard last year sometime that Harrisburg announced they were getting some of the electric trucks.
Right.
I'll be interested to see how they work.
Yeah.
I mean, they're only going to be used in the city.
It's only going to be local.
Yeah, because
100%.
Most of those don't have more than a 250-mile range.
I think, if I remember correctly, and I could be totally wrong, I want to say they said 150-mile range.
That was on the straight trucks. Yeah.
So I don't know. I didn't know if the tractors would be bigger or better or have more.
They would almost have because they're pulling more weight. So they're probably going to have they're probably going to have more range.
Where do you put it?
Where the fuel tanks are. I mean, like
how big of a battery can you put there? I mean, I guess pretty big.
The Tesla semis, they're like 900 kilowatt, I think, and they're heavy. I mean, was almost like this. What our tractors weigh is probably what the batteries weigh.
The battery itself.
Our tractors are 16,000 pounds.
Like that, yeah.
Dry weight.
How much our tractors weigh?
I think the sticker on the
6, I think.
Yeah, something like that. So that's probably how much battery they have in that truck. So and that's to go 500 miles. The Tesla semi is the only one I really know about, and they have the 500-mile range, fully loaded. 500 real world miles.
Wow,
which is okay, but it's not like even for what we do. We're LTL. That would never work for us at night. Unless you have some place to charge. Like if you're going to a terminal, if you take your 30-minute break, that truck could be charged and you get, another 30-40% back in the battery. You have enough to make it home. But our terminals are not set up for that.
No, I mean, you'd have to have those set up. That's
those
a huge at every terminal, and then you'd have to have enough for every truck coming into that terminal.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
no, I mean,
if you're going to run it for your FCT runs and that kind of stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that has to be there for every, but if you're going to run it that way and begin to go down that road of every truck becomes an electric
it'd
truck.
be good for them to get a bunch of single axles in, run them in the city.
Yeah.
They could save a lot of money, maintenance and fueling just for that.
Right.
But we're nowhere. We're years and years away.
Are they going to be, and I don't mean this in any derogatory way, are they durable enough?
Oh, yeah.
I know that sounds like a dumb question to ask. I don't mean it.
It's just like an AV, less moving parts. There's less crap to go wrong.
Yeah.
The drive units are big sealed units. There's really,
I imagine all of the shocks and the springs. And
a lot of that's the same as what's on
all
ours,
the leaf springs and all that. I imagine it's all the same as what we have on what we have.
Like with some of what I'm assuming what we're getting in are probably could be the E-Cascadias, the Freightliners and stuff like that. Those are just basically Freightliners with a electric powertrain. That's it. They're just the same. The Cascadias that we get, they're the same truck. It's just they're not powered by diesel. They have the big drive. The axles are the only big difference because there's going to be a drive unit probably on each axle.
For each axle.
Yeah, and I'm assuming they're not going to be all wheel drive. So you don't have one up front. So you can put a battery where that engine was. You can have a big space for heavy battery up there.
Yeah.
Or you can have 1,000-pound diesel engine before. Now you can put 1,000-pound battery there, and the truck will feel the same driving down the road.
Yeah. The weight equivalents will be.
Yeah, it should be fun. Because I have no experience. I've only what I read, and it's mostly just about. I learned a little bit about the Mac one, They have a Mac. Mac makes a garbage truck that's an electric.
Oh yeah,
and that's another perfect application for that.
Yeah.
In residential, who gets woken up at 4:00 in the morning here? Boo! The hydraulic or the big diesel engine screaming at you. If it could be a quiet electric truck, you just hear the garbage fall out of the into the back there. So
good point. Yeah, I think that's a great application.
I saw a video for that, and then like some of the, as dumb as it sounds, fuel oil delivery. A lot of these places, especially in California, they have idle restrictions.
Right.
Well, how do you run a pump truck without keeping your truck run?
Yeah.
Where if it's electric, you're not polluting anything to get to deliver oil or gas or anything like that.
Right.
So it'll work out for some applications.
Sure.
But we're nowhere near. People want them all to be electric in 10 years, and it's just not going to happen.
We're not there.
Hydrogen, I think, will work better. Like we talked about all this before. It's boring, but I think hydrogen is probably the better way to go, because that's still an electric truck, but the hydrogen makes the electricity in the truck,
right? And
you just pull in, it fills up just as fast as diesel, and you can be on your way. But there's no infrastructure anywhere yet.
Yeah, well, and that's I guess sometimes it's one of those things that I don't know why people get so upset about it.
It's politicized.
You know what I mean? Like I just don't get why any driver or anybody's like, look. It's not mandatory. It's just they're working on technology. It's interesting. It should be interesting to everybody
because it's been politicized.
If you don't want it, you don't have to buy it. Nobody's saying you have to. And I don't ever want to see. I don't want to see anything become mandatory. I don't want the federal government mandating to me what I own or what I buy. I don't think that's their place.
Everybody says that. Like
I don't think that. But I'm not saying that's what I'm saying is I don't think they're going down that road. I don't.
They keep saying the EV mandate. There's no EV.
There is no mandate.
There is no mandate. They've incentivized, which I said when I first time I came on the show, that $7,500, which I did take advantage of.
Yeah,
I don't think it should be there. Right. If the cars are good enough, let them sell themselves. Why are we giving? I mean, you're not. And people say, "Well, that's my tax." No, it's the person who's buying the car. They have to have that tax liability. You're letting that person keep their money.
Right.
So you're not taking anyone's money out, but that's what everyone sees.
You're just piling on the national debt.
Yeah. Well, when they spend $25,000 for a toilet seat and everything, that's my $7,500. I don't think made much of a dent, but I don't, that's going to probably go away. And I think it should.
Yeah. I'm sure it will.
These cars, if somebody is even a little open mind, just go drive an electric car. I guarantee you're going to like it better than whatever car you're driving.
How are they in the snow? I'm just curious. Again, it's one of those things that you don't know because
I've only driven in one like snowstorm and it seems fine, but it makes sense that they would be really good because they're heavy, first of all, and all the weight is down low. There, and my car is a 50-50 split front to back. All the weight is equal. My car's all-wheel drive, so it's going to do pretty good. So they're going to be like any other car.
Yeah.
And most cars, even if it's rear-wheel drive, you put a decent set of tires on it, it's going to be fine. Rear wheel. I mean, when we were younger, there were no all-wheel drive. Everybody had rear-wheel drive Chevy Novas, and you put a set of snow tires on, a few bags of sand or cinder blocks in the back, and you made it to work. And that's back when it used to freaking snow.
Yep,
a lot.
Yep,
and we all made it through. So I don't think it's going to be bad. I have yet to drive that in anything really bad.
Right.
The day I picked it up, we picked it up in a freaking snowstorm.
Did you?
Of course,
really?
I got a brand new car. And as I'm watching the weather, and they said, no, it's going to be the day before. I'm like, oh, so we picked it up on a Saturday morning, and Friday night, I'm looking at the weather. I'm like, oh, this isn't going to be good. And I was like, are they going to cancel it? But then we picked it up in Devon, Pennsylvania, and it wasn't down there. They got a coating, maybe an inch down there. It wasn't bad.
Was that that freak snowstorm this past year?
It was back in February.
Where it was, wasn't supposed to snow, and
it was supposed to be like a
snowmageddon.
Yeah, it was like,
but only in one swath.
Yeah, it was like 6 inches, a line that went across Pennsylvania, and of course that was right through us.
Yeah,
I pick up my new car. I was so happy to get it.
Yeah,
I'm driving home, and I just hear all the ting ting going off the front. I was like, oh, there goes the paint already. Yeah. Don't even have it a day.
Sure, the one day that PennDOT salts.
Yeah.
It's the day you bring your new car home.
It was all on the car.
Yeah. Oh, that's crazy. That's just nuts.
But yeah,
I think I find it a fascinating subject. I know not everybody does, and I understand that. I can appreciate that. I don't even own one. I just find it fascinating.
Yeah, if more and more people just drove them. And you'll find out, one, it's just a car. It drives like every other car.
Right.
But you don't have the noise and the drama of the engine.
And the thing people have to realize, not every state is California. California. I don't care if you live in California. You don't like what I'm going to say. That's your problem. You vote for what you have. That's it. End of story. So if you don't like all of their regulations, all of their crap, you don't have to stay there. There's 49 other states to live in.
Colorado's getting to be just as
They
bad.
are. You know what happened? Californians left California, moved to Colorado, and flipped Colorado blue. And now they've done the exact same thing to Colorado that they did in California. You're ruining your state. And then you're gonna complain about it. You're all gonna move someplace else and take all of your politics with you.
Well, I think it's going to come to an end real quick because out in Colorado, they have more incentives to buy electric vehicles than California
out in Colorado, they also have, these gangs from Venezuela coming up here and taking over, apartment complexes. But it's only one or two, according to the lady on the news.
One or two.
One or two. Yeah. This is the United States of America.
There should be zero. There should be zero.
Yes. What part of that aren't you getting? How stupid are you? That's the modern state of our news. That's the modern state of the United States.
That's why you still watch the news no more.
I just find it, it was one of those common sense things that I heard, and I don't care if people like it or not, J.D. Vance say, when he was being interviewed by this lady on, I remember if it was ABC or what, and she said, well, it was only one or two apartment complexes that these people had taken over. And he looks at her and said, do you hear yourself? Do you even hear what you're saying?
It should be zero.
This is the United States of America. And I was like, yeah, exactly. How is that not catching on in her head? Because we're just going to justify everything we're doing anyway. I just sat there. I was like, wow, that was a good point, JD.
Yeah, I don't get the state.
No, but my point is, like, everybody's afraid everything's going to become like California. But as long as you don't vote for it,
but
it won't.
That's a problem. That's all these regulations and stuff. I think there's 16 states now that follow California and the CARB, the California Air Regulator Board. Yeah, they follow all those CARB mandates. I think New Jersey's one of them, Colorado, New York. They're all following. Are you
sensing a pattern here?
Well, it's all the liberal.
They're all blue states.
Yeah, they're all the liberal states and everything. But that's the way it's going to go. And all right, I get it. We got it. We should clean up the air, but not at the cost of the U.S. falling behind. And because the rest of the world isn't slowing down on EVs. And most of that has nothing to do with air or the environment.
Right.
They're just cheaper to maintain. They last longer.
Right.
And everybody says, well, how are we going to power for everything? Well, the virtual power plants and stuff, we have more than enough power being made right now. If everybody wanted to go to an EV, it would be fine because not everyone's charging at the same time. A lot of people don't live in a house. They're going to charge once a week. Like you go to a gas station once a week.
Especially because most people live close to their work. Most people do.
Yeah, it's just
not everybody drives like I do.
And a lot of these newer things, like I know Tesla's doing their power walls and everything. They have virtual power plants. They have people in your area. They have these power walls in their house. When there's a rolling blackout or brownout, they will pull power from these power walls that are in your house. And people are like, "Well, I don't want that." They're going to pay you. You might pay, say, 10 cents per kilowatt hour for your power. They're going to pay you $1 if they have to, for every kilowatt they got to suck out. So for a lot of people in California, Arizona, I think there's a few other states that are doing it. They're actually making money from the power companies by having these things. I didn't know
that was.
And the same things that happen with cars when cars are plugged in. Because you think about it, how long does your car actually just sit there?
Yeah, most of the time. You drive it. I mean, look at your hours of driving.
Yeah, for you, it's more than most. But I mean, your car literally sits normally for 22, 23 hours out of the day. Right. If that's plugged into a house and you getting a rolling blackout through, and say your house going dark, it starts pulling the power out of the car, and PP&L or whoever your power supplier is,
whatever it is,
whoever, they'll pay you for the power that they sucked out of your car to give your neighbor power, double, triple, quadruple what you paid for the energy to go in there. Seems like a no-brainer to me, but people don't. It's something new, and they don't want to. They don't
trust it. They don't know it.
Because in my head, I was like, well, there's only so many charge cycles to a battery. So now I'm going to have my car plugged in there, and PP&L is going to start sucking power out, putting it back in, sucking it power out. I was like, that sounds like that's a charge cycle. A charge cycle is from 0 to 100. Mm-hmm. So they're saying a lithium-ion battery is about 2,000 charge cycles.
Right.
So they're saying that's about 200 to 250,000 miles worth of driving.
Wow.
Well, okay, that's fine. I don't want it suck back and forth with the sucking the power out. Then that's more charge cycles. But they're saying that literally has almost no effect on the battery because it's such low back and forth. It only happens infrequently. They're just not seeing any degradation in them. And even I guess, read an article, or I should say, I don't know why I say read an article. I don't read. I watched a video on YouTube from a tech site. They've been testing batteries a certain way where they're in a lab. They'll hook up a battery, drain it down, drain it back, fill it up, drain it back down, just in a lap constantly.
Yeah.
And they'll say, okay, well, this lasted 2,000 charge cycles before it blew up. Well, who uses a battery like that?
Right.
Because there are cars, there's a Tesla Model 3, a 2018 that's on, a guy just hit 300,000 miles on the original battery.
Wow.
And it still has 85% of the usable capacity in it after 300,000 miles.
Wow. And how many people keep a car that long?
Yeah. I mean, normally not.
I do.
Well, yeah, you guys do.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
But that opens up the door to like people who like you guys who keep your cars for long periods of time. These electric ones now are showing that you can do it. It's just a car that you don't have to worry about oil changes. You don't have to worry about this going wrong. A transmission. Oh, the tranny went bad. There's no transmission. There's just the drive units on either side of the car, and those don't ever go bad. You never hear them going bad.
Do you just put it in drive? Like, is there like a shifter? I mean, is that or is there a button you push?
On my car, I have
how that works.
A stalk on the steering column. You push down for drive, up for reverse, and then you push the button on the end for park.
And it's not even like an R and L and neutral or anything.
No.
Just those.
Most new cars now, they don't, just because they have the shifter, it's all shift by wire anyway. There's no linkage going to your transmission anymore. Most of them don't do that anymore. It's all by wire. So like my wife's, her, you know what? That's wrong. Hers, she has that dual clutch. So there is linkage in there. She has a dual clutch transmission.
Oh, okay.
But like I drove another Audi. Mine, I had the Prindle shifter, they call it the park, reverse, neutral, drive, low, but there was no physical connection from that shifter to the transmission.
Oh, okay.
It was just electronic.
It was electronic,
and it did. That's the way most cars are now. So, and with the EVs, the car it's on or off. Basically, I don't even turn my car off. I get in it with my phone is the key. I get in it, the car turns on. I put it in drive, and I go. I get out of it. I walk away from it.
It automatically almost shuts off.
2 weeks ago, I drove my wife's car. I walked out, went in the store, realized the car's still running. I got so used to mine, I forgot to turn her car off.
Wow.
Because I'm just not used to having a key or anything anymore.
Crazy.
And her car's quiet too, so I was like, I didn't even hear it. Like, wow. But yeah, it's a learning. There's a lot to learn.
Oh, I'm sure there is.
With
a learning
or you don't have to learn a goddamn thing. You just get in and drive, use it like a car.
Just like a car, like any other car.
I'm fascinated by it. So I did deep diving into learning how to do all this stuff and how to maximize my battery life. Like I don't ever charge past 50. It's 50%, and that's where, unless I'm going somewhere. If I need the range, I'll go all the way up to 100. I don't care.
Right.
But you want your battery to last between 30 and 50 is the happy spot for a lithium ion battery. It's the same on your phone, but you can't. Like on the phone, I just set it. Every night I plug it in, it goes up to 50%. Right. I have 150 miles. I don't ever drive 150 miles. Like last night, because it's cold out, I went up to 60% just because I knew I was coming here.
Right.
The extra. A little extra miles. But
yeah.
But it just, or you can just every night, don't even think about it. Charge it up to 80% because that's where they say don't go past 80% daily. And then your battery's going to be fine. But I'm trying to get and at the end of 200,000 miles, you might have 1 or 2% less battery left. Nothing you're going to notice. Yeah. But I just find it fascinating. But the more I dive into the whole, for like what we do, the trucking, it ain't ever I just don't see it.
Yeah. It's not going to be a viable option.
I mean, Tesla's the closest. Tesla's the closest, and they're even getting down to like almost price parity with a diesel truck.
No kidding.
But it's just the infrastructure. Yeah. I mean, if you have like a megawatt charger, which is like a really big, you got to have a hell of a transformer to pull in that kind of power.
Right.
So in like 30 minutes, you can put a usable amount of energy back in the truck, but you got to have that. And we just can't get even like these superchargers and car chargers are popping up all over the place.
Right.
They build them and then they sit there for a year with covers on them because they can't get transformers.
Wow.
Apparently there's only a handful of companies in the US that make transformers that can handle that kind of power.
Yeah.
You know,
so it's hard to build it's just hard to get the infrastructure built and up and running.
Tesla brags they can have their superchargers in the ground in 4 days because they come on, they're pre-built in their factory up in Buffalo on a slab of concrete, chargers there, everything
to build stuff like that.
They just put it in the ground, wire them up, and within 4 days it can be an operational thing, but it's always the permits and the red tape and we can't get the transformer and the utility wants to, we can't give you this much power. Well, then we cannot, these take a certain amount of power. Mm-hmm. And if you can't give that to us at any time of day, you'll allow them to say, well, okay, we can give it to you from this time to this time. Well, this is like a gas station.
Yes.
Like telling a gas station, you can only get like gas from like 2 in the afternoon to 4 in the afternoon. And then again, from 11 to 6 in the morning. You can't do that. These are people have to drive. They have to show up at any time of day and pull power.
That's what's so funny is at the same time, the government wants this stuff to happen, but they don't make any way for it to happen. They stand in the way with their red tape and they stand in the way with everything else that goes on.
Well, that's why the IONA network, which is Ford, GM, Porsche, Hyundai, Kia, Genesis, Mercedes, BMW. I know I'm missing some in there. They all got together and they're opening up this charging network called IONA. And they're going to put in, I think by 2030, they want to have 30,000 chargers in the ground.
Wow.
And that's on top of Tesla's already, they got almost 30,000 in the ground. Yeah. And that's just in the US. All over the world, they have a lot more.
Every Wawa's got at least 5 of them.
Oh, and out in California, they have ones that are over 100 charging stations in one. Yeah, I think it was 100. One was 150 chargers. They're like right off main drags between like Vegas and California, where people drive a lot.
Sure.
And they're just giant fields filled with superchargers. And if they can get power to there, why can't we get a power at,
that's it.
I mean, they have the big on-site battery storage things too, where they fill all those batteries up. So to avoid, peak demand times and everything like that. But I just don't know how they're going to do it for trucks. Cause that's how PepsiCo is operating those Tesla semis.
Yeah.
They have these stops between wherever they're driving. Cause they did over 1,000 miles in a 24-hour period in one of those trucks.
Mm-hmm.
PepsiCo already has one that has close to 300,000 miles on it, so it's working for them, but that's because they have them set up to do it.
Yeah.
So other than ports and last mile stuff, I just don't see them really catching on until the infrastructure is built, but somebody's got to flip that bill. And so far the government hasn't shown any interest in doing that. I mean, they want to do for cars, have them all over the place, but as far as heavy truck transport, I don't see how that's going to work. That's the money.
And this is one of those things that it's what drives you crazy is you hear about this stuff, but then, every state has their own rules and regulations for truck driving, yet it's still the FMCSA. But is it a federal thing or is this a state thing? They need to stop playing dumb games. Your license, you have to go through the federal government for your license, for your hazmat. All the regulations that are, and this is what drives you crazy, is that now you have 50 states and everybody wants to do it differently. So California can look at drivers and say, well, you can't come in and we don't want you because you have a regular diesel power and you're too old of an engine. You're putting out too much smoke. It's like, and this is stuff that drives you crazy. It's like it needs to be, if you're going to regulate the industry. And make it that it's the same everywhere, so that all the stuff is the same, because it's an industry.
Well, that's what's going on in the automotive industry. The CAFE numbers, which is the corporate average fuel economy.
Yes,
you have to have this. All right, Trump pulled a lot of that back,
right?
And dumped it back. So then all these car manufacturers, they're not looking to next model year. No, they're looking 10 years into the future. So Trump pulls it back. The next one pushes it forward again. So they don't know what the hell to do.
Right.
And that's why so many companies they're struggling now. Are the United States auto industry is struggling.
Yeah.
And even over in Europe, there's the European Union's fairly young. They've only been around. So they're coming into the same we're going through, where each state has each now
They want to
over
have
there,
their own say.
they have their own say. It's not working out. There has to be a consensus.
There has to be one thing, especially with these big industries like this. There has to be one. This is going to be the rules. Like, this is one country. The EU, I get it because they're all separate countries, but this is one big country, 50 states. Somebody's got to have control and say, this is the way it's going to be.
Right,
and all the states are going to follow the same rules. Screw you, California. You're lost on your. You're not going to get it.
Let's all follow California as long as everybody knows what the hell's going on.
Right, that's what I mean.
Everybody does the same thing, and then it'll be a lot because we're going to give up our entire auto industry to China.
We are,
because China is killing it.
Yeah.
They're making great cars, and I'm not even talking about their electric stuff. Their electric stuff's off the chart, but even their just regular Hyundai style cars, Honda Civic, they're regular gas cars. They're fantastic at a fraction of the price. Yes, that's because they treat their people like
They pay them crap.
Aren't they talking? Somebody was merging over there.
Honda and Nissan. Well, that's
Nissan,
Japanese. That's Japanese company.
And probably Mitsubishi.
I think Hyundai is South Korea, isn't it?
Yeah, Hyundai, but Honda and Nissan.
Nissan,
okay,
gotcha.
and Mitsubishi is pretty much
Mitsubishi
is owned by Nissan more or less,
right? And Mitsubishi, the motors, like when I was working at the car dealership, Chrysler,
they use Mitsubishi.
They were using Mitsubishi motors,
right?
Back then already. So they had to run with them, like Ford was with
Jaguar.
So that was ends up being the Jaguar, ends up being the higher priced
Ford.
Ford
that F-Type that they had, their sports car they had a few years ago, that still was basically using the Ford V8.
Wow.
That's why it was such a damn good car.
Yeah, they were. Everybody was
crossbreeding.
Crossbreeding. Engine power plants.
That started to fall apart in 2008 when everything fell apart there. GM sold off Saab and everything.
The same token that he was talking about, going to electric.
Right.
These manufacturers, they project a shutdown. All right, our last gas motor 28, 26. Some of the imports are already looking at 26. I think it was Honda.
I don't think there's anybody before 2030 that they all said, like Cadillac was supposed to be 2030, but they're all rolling that back. They're not going to be no one's going to be all electric by any time.
Except for Tesla.
Rolled it all back. Well, Tesla, Rivian.
So that is their thing.
Yeah, that's all they sell.
Rivian.
They don't have.
I did see a Rivian truck.
Did you?
I had never seen one before. I was like,
they're nice.
What kind of truck is that? Whatever said Rivian in the back. I was like, that's kind of cool looking.
But for them to scale down and stop the combustion engine manufacturing, it's 5-6 year window at least. And now everybody was on this plan. Now all of a sudden, you're trying to think, well, are they going to turn it around? Well, they're not going to. If they turn it around, it's still going to take 5 to 6 years to fire it back up again.
Right.
Because they went this route. This is the way they were pointing the ship at that point.
Right.
Well, that's why a lot of people think because Trump's back in. All right, great. EVs are dead. They're going to. No, these guys, they've spent, like GM and Ford especially, they spent billions.
Yep.
Right.
Billions of dollars.
They spend billions of dollars and they don't have it right.
Right.
I mean, because they're basically asking Tesla or Musk to help them out. That's why they're merging with these other EV car manufacturers.
Well, that's the whole reason, because Honda and Nissan having their issue. Nissan in the past 5 since their CEO got in trouble, they haven't been able to come back. Their products are stale. They were ahead in electric vehicles further than anybody else, and they just kind of let it go.
And here was the basic thing too. Now they said, I think it was 26. Some manufacturers are going to have one generic plug. Apparently, these EVs have different plugs.
Well, they're all going to what the Tesla plug is.
The regular Tesla plug. So
the
it's all
NACS.
But they're going to. So if you bought an early one,
you have an adapter.
All right.
Yeah, well, you have to buy it. You have to get an adapter.
Well, all the new Hyundai ones or all the Hyundai cars that have been sold the past couple of years since they have electric cars, they're giving their customers an adapter that you can plug.
That's what they should. I mean, they should have. Which I get it, because it was the same way when we first started getting electricity. Period. First electrical stuff. You had DC, you had AC. This one did this one. This one did that. things that the adapters weren't the same, the freaking plugs weren't the same, and everything had to eventually become unified so that people can buy something and you can plug it in your house no matter what. Try taking a plug from here, a lamp from here to Europe. Forget it. You're not plugging it in.
Well,
it's crazy. It's
that's what all the cars were the CCS stack. Sharon is an organization over in Europe. They came up with this plug. CCS, we use CCS1 here. Over in Europe, they use CCS2 because all their stuff is high voltage over there.
Right.
So it's a little different of a plug, but more or less the same thing. Combined charging standards, what it was. But they rushed this thing out. It's so big and clunky. If you ever look at the plug of a CCS and the plug of a Teslas are like this big around, easy to handle. The CCS is a giant plug up here, 2 giant pins here. The cables are this thick.
Wow.
If you're like a little old lady or you have mobility issues or something and it's cold out, those cables they get hard. You can't plug these in. That's why they switched to Tesla and that's Elon's fault. He should have released, if he wanted everyone to go to that 10 years ago, he should have said, hey, we designed this plug that works fantastic. It has bi-directional, so you can take energy out of the car, put it in the car, all the stuff that the CCS was designed, but it's half the size.
Right.
It costs half as much to produce and probably lasts twice as long. But no, he had to make, that was proprietary. And then all of a sudden, like 2 years ago, he says, okay, I've decided I'm going to, they changed it from the Tesla plug to North American Charging Standard is what he called it. And he just gave it away. He made it an open patent. Didn't have to pay Tesla a penny for it. Just take it. And then the SAE took it, and now it's actually called J3400. The Society of Automotive Engineers, they standardized it. Right. Now it doesn't belong to Tesla. So even if Elon wakes up tomorrow morning and gets pissed off at the world and says, you can't use it, too late, buddy.
It's already done.
It belongs to the world.
Like you said, about these plugs. I mean, back in the 70s and 80s, when you went to start reading, when we first started going to fuel injection with the car, with computers, every manufacturer, you had to have, specific keys to get in and, to read the computer.
Right.
Now it's OBD1, or OBD2 rather. Yeah. You just plug right in. You go one plug.
Yeah, and it can read
every car.
Yeah, and like a $50 thing on Amazon. Right. You can read any car that's on the road. Yeah. They standardize it. That's what they're trying to do.
That makes sense.
But you would think, having gone that route with that technology back then, they would have done this fast forward sooner. And done it right away.
We don't learn our lessons.
No.
I mean, like we with like battery tech, everybody has their own. It's starting to become more. Lithium ion seems to have won the battle. Yeah. There's other chemistries out there that seem to be cheaper, but in the beginning they were, solid state is the thing that's coming next that'll really change the game. But everybody had their own. We're gonna do it this way. We're gonna do it that way. It's like you talk to the average person who just wants a car.
Yep, they just want to know it works,
and they want to say, okay, where am I going to charge it? I'm going to charge it there, and every time I go there, I'm going to plug it in. It's going to work. No problem. They don't want to have to think as much. Like I enjoy learning all the crap. The average person doesn't because I know, what I don't enjoy learning? The gas industry. I don't want to know how they pump I don't give a crap.
Care,
I just want to know I could go to the gas station when I need gas, fill it up. I don't want to think about it. Yeah. And until they make charging an EV, whether it's at your house or at the Wawa, easy and simple. But every car charges different. And unless the salesman tells you what it is, people are going to think their little Chevy Bolt. Well, that says it charges up to 350 kilowatt. I'm going to go there because it's going to be really fast. Nope. Your car can only take 50 kilowatts no matter what you plug it into.
Right.
So they pull in, and that's the problem a lot of people are having. They're buying the cheaper cars that don't charge very well, but they go to the big chargers with 350 kilowatts when they should be at the 50 or 100 watt or the 100 kilowatt one. And now a guy with a Porsche Taycan comes in who can accept that large charge. He's got to wait behind a Bolt. People have to be educated and that's going to take a long time.
It is
because again, they just need to make it easy.
People aren't educated now. What makes you think you're educated
but
on
some
that?
of this stuff becomes generational.
Yeah.
Because the next generation, they're going to be more used to, just like this generation is more used to phones.
Yeah. You can hand an iPad to a 3-year-old now and it's like they know how to work. They were born with the knowledge how to do it.
Yep. We try and figure it out. I'm like, I'm all thumbs. You know, it's like it's just not going to happen. That's just a reality. I mean, that is how things go. It is generational.
Yeah, you're right. It's the next, like even the younger kids now. A lot of young kids now don't even want to drive. They're like, I don't want my license. I don't need to.
Isn't that it's so strange to us?
That's where I think the big push for autonomous cars is. Well, like the Elon. And did you watch that demonstration of their Cybercab? That gold little 2-door car.
Yeah.
It would be awesome if it would actually work, but I just don't think we're there.
Yeah,
I don't think it's going to happen because I have another trial of full self-driving with my car. I drove all the way here. I didn't touch it. It's really incredible. It's really, I'm blown away by what it can do.
Yeah, I think it's neat.
Till it doesn't work. And it ran me through. Now, this is the last one. Since they had the new update, it has no issues.
Good.
But it ran me through stoplights. It gets confused at weird intersections. Now, again, since I got the new version, it's pretty, I was not a fan of it. I'm pretty blown away by what it can do.
Yeah, and I think it's cool.
It's supervised. I still have to pay attention.
Right.
If I look away if I like, ooh, what's that over there? The thing starts flashing, and if I don't look back in time, it'll shut off. It'll shut the full self-driving, and I'll have to take control. If you do that, I think you do it 3 times, you lose it for a week.
Wow. So it's like punishment.
You get punishment. Yeah.
My car is punishing me. What?
But it is incredible what it can do, but I don't know if I'll ever fully trust it. And but the young kids, they just blindly trust.
They do. They take to, because that's how we were. You know, we did the same thing with stuff, stuff that was, the video game, era.
Yeah, but this is your life. Now, this isn't a video game. This is you barreling down the highway at 70 miles an hour.
It's a whole different world.
I mean, I set the max speed coming out here. It only goes up to 80 miles an hour. That's the max.
Really?
So I want to see, will it actually do okay? 80 miles an hour across 78 here.
Yeah.
It was weaving in and out of traffic, just like I would. It didn't do anything. It did get a little close to the truck.
Like, does it signal?
Oh, yeah. It puts the turn signals on.
Wow,
and yeah,
it's really kind of interesting.
Yeah. I'm blown away by it, but I just don't think it's ever going to be unsupervised where I can when I'll be really, really impressed. And while I might pay for it, because they want $100 a month for this system, or you can pay for it one time, $8,000. But that stays with the car. It does, like if you go to get another Tesla, it doesn't go with you.
Wow.
So, everyone, he does do the promotional thing. You can pull it with you if you buy a new car, to get them to, it's a sales lever.
Yeah. Incentives to,
but I don't know, that's a lot of money. But if I could get in the car, and it's not even so much for me because I actually enjoy driving, but if I could send my car over to pick up my mom and dad to take them to the doctor.
Right.
Because neither of them have a license anymore. They can't drive.
Okay.
So I could send my car over there, take them to the doctor. That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, because now they rely on the Lanta old person minibus.
The minibuses, yeah.
And so they rely on that. If I could send my car over there while I'm at work and not doing anything, give them a free ride to the doctor. It goes, because it parks itself too, which is really odd to see and pretty cool. You pull into a parking lot and all those parking spaces show up on the screen, and you just pick whichever one you want, hit it, hit start, and it always backs in, which is what I always do too. I back into spaces. The car will back into a space because it has a camera out the back. It doesn't have a camera down at the bumper. It has them shooting out the window, but it can't see so it'll always back in. And it's incredible. So, I mean, imagine that technology in 20 years.
Exactly.
For trucks. And that's, eventually we will all be replaced, but it isn't going to be in our lifetime.
In 20 years, I'll be done.
Yeah.
In 10 years,
it won't. I don't even think it'll be in 20 years because it'll be like I said before, the autopilot with airplanes.
Right.
Somebody's going to have to be there.
Yeah.
Because it'll take you down the road, keep you in a lane, even change lanes, maybe get off at exits, or you put in a destination. Like all I got to do is I put in your address in the car.
Yeah.
And it starts driving out of my driveway all the way here. It did stop in front of your house here. I had to go around to finish park in the back
because it showed up where you said it to.
But if your house would have had a parking lot, a parking spot would have showed up, and I could have just hit it, and it would have pulled right in the spot.
No kidding.
Or backed into the spot.
Isn't that crazy? That's the coolest thing, dude. I think it's cool. Technology is amazing.
Yeah, it is until it's not, and then that's what
100%.
Everyone's like I see all the reviews online, people looking, the Tesla fanboys. I'm not a fan of any brand. I'm a fan of what I like at the time. I've had every car,
and it's going to change.
Yeah, I'm probably maybe I'll buy another Tesla. I don't know.
Right.
They seem to be the best ones out there now, but that might change in the future. But they blindly try, and then they're surprised why did this thing drive over a curb?
Right.
Well, probably didn't see the curb. The camera was blocked, or it was
Not
dirty.
perfect.
There was one that came up there, and they said my FSD just failed miserably, and it ran me into he called it a pot, but it looked like a big like display, like a cement giant
like
potted
a big
planter. Yeah, big planter. Ran it in, and then he's showing the pictures of his car. His car's white. There's snow all over the ground. The pot was white. What are you're trusting this thing in the snow?
Right.
When everything is just you're not supposed to use cruise control in the rain.
Right.
Why are you trusting this in the snow?
Yeah.
It's vision based. Everything around you was white.
Yep. And cameras can only do so much.
The camera probably saw everything was white. Well, there's nothing there.
Right.
It drove it straight in there. It has the whole front end smashed in, set his airbags off and everything.
Wow.
And Tesla says right there in the fine print, that's on you. We are not responsible.
No, but most people drive like they're not responsible. They drive with their own Tesla disclaimer for themselves. I'm not responsible for things that I do out here on the roadway. Sorry.
Yeah,
but it's not true that you can't drive that way. You can't. So, let that be your PSA for the day. You are responsible for what you do out on the roads.
The only car in the
PSA, push aside.
Do that too.
The only car in the U.S. right now that takes responsibility is Mercedes-Benz. They have true level 3 driving, but it's only up to 50 miles an hour, I think now.
Okay.
And that's basically for when you're in traffic jam. You could take your eyes off the road. You can take your hands off the wheel.
Do
you
whatever.
You can do it. The car takes control, and Mercedes says, "Nope, we're responsible. If something happens, if the car does something,
they're secure enough in there.
They trust it enough.
That's good.
And all right, that's great. You're putting your money where your mouth is.
100%.
Where Tesla's saying they're using us all. That's why we have another free trial. They're using us as beta testers. Yeah, they want to it's all AI now. The whole car is AI. They're training their artificial intelligence by all of us using it.
Yep.
Well, okay, that's great. You're giving me free. You're giving that to me, but I'm not too happy about being a beta tester for you.
Yeah. I'm not a beta male.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I'm good.
Because for the longest time, it was called FSD beta because it was in beta testing all the time. Right. And then the NHTSA, the National Highway Traffic Safety Board, they said, you can't have untrained people out here being your testers. So now it's called FSD supervised. You're supervised. They took the beta off of it, but it's still not ready. Unsupervised. Their cyber cab thing. There's no pedals in it. There's no steering wheel in it. Wow. That is a car, as a totally autonomous car that will come pick you up, take you where you want to go. You can't intervene at all. So it has to be a hell of a lot better than it is right now before. And people are thinking that's coming this year. No way.
Wow. That's crazy. Well, this has been an exciting conversation. Yes, I appreciate it.
People are probably bored with it.
I don't, there are some times where just everybody needs to take shippers prepping advice. PSA.
Put shit
aside. With all that being said, I did enjoy
word
it.
Smythe.
Yeah, you are. He's a regular word. Yep.
Apparently, you are not.
No, I'm not a word. I'm not a word Smythe. I would be a word Smith, but I would not be a word Smythe.
I'm a word spewer.
But with all that being said, thank you for listening. Thank you for hanging out. Thanks for staying and doing a break room show. I really appreciate that. I enjoy these conversations. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea. Don't listen. If you don't like it, don't listen.
Talk about one of my favorite things.
Yeah,
not just electric vehicles, but vehicles in general.
I think it's a fascinating subject, and that's why from time to time we're going to talk about it. And if you like it, listen. If you don't like it, don't listen. I'm not heartbroken.
Don't say that. Listen,
I want everybody to listen.
At least keep it playing in the background.
Input, right?
We get the credit for the show.
Exactly. But it's just the way it is. We don't all have to agree.
Like static on the radio.
It is like static on the radio. But I do think it's a good thing for everybody to talk about.
And don't forget, I learned something new about YouTube. People go there and watch the videos.
Yeah.
It really helps the algorithm if you hit like.
Oh, that's right.
Like.
And but you hit it. I hit it, and then I hit it.
You can only hit the like once.
I hit it at the end, and
it doesn't work.
That's because if you liked it when you first started playing it and you hit it at the end, you unliked it.
Yeah.
You can only hit it once.
Yeah, you can only hit it once.
Turn blue or whatever color.
Whatever.
You hit like, that's it.
That really helps the algorithm.
Well, yeah, please. Exactly. That's great.
Gets it
that's
to
great.
more people.
Yep.
You know, even if it isn't your particular cup of tea, or somebody else might see it and like it
and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great thing. Like and subscribe to the show. We do appreciate it. If you do like the videos, hit the like on the video.
Same thing on Apple Podcasts. You don't have to sit there and write a review, but if you just give us that 5-star click, it moves us up in the ratings.
It does. And we appreciate it. That's great. I appreciate you saying that, Mike. I think about that. Like I'm listening to shows during the week when I'm driving, and they'll say that stuff at the end of the show. Yeah, well, I was here when we did it, so. But I'm listening. And they're like, oh yeah, and please, do the whole review thing, like and review, and give us a 5-star, and I think we got to start saying that. And then I get here and I totally forget to say it.
Yeah,
it's just ciao. We're out. So,
I keep telling my wife, because we have a couple of YouTube channels we really like.
Yeah.
I said, whenever you watch a video, just click the thumbs up button.
Yep.
It helps them. It doesn't cost us anything.
No.
It helps them.
Yep.
And she always only watches Hammer Lane Legends on YouTube. She doesn't really listen to podcasts.
Right.
So I was like, well, like the video. I always have to go back in and click the like up just because I only listen on the podcast app.
Right.
I don't watch them on the video because I listen to them at work.
That's why I usually listen to it. Because they're longer form than I have. Just and so I can listen to it at work.
Now that I've been doing this for a while, I'm more like you. My wife says, "Oh, I listened to the last podcast with Alyssa and Tanya," and I was like, "She's like, and you said this," and then Brian says, "I'm like, okay, I did." She's like, "Well, aren't you going to listen to it?" I said, "Well, I was kind of there." I mean. I went back and I listened to about half of it.
Right.
I was there and I don't remember what I said.
Yeah. My wife does the whole thing. Oh, and then Shipper said this. Is like, did he? I don't.
Yeah. I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. I have no idea.
She should write a review.
And she's listening.
She should post a review every week.
For every week. Yeah. Every show.
There you go.
Our online review.
I'll have her do it instead of AI. She'll write the show description and the
review. But no, that's great. That's a great point. Yeah. Please hit the like. Hit the review, hit the 5-star. We appreciate it.
And even if you thought the show sucked,
do it anyway.
Do a 5-star, thumbs up.
You know what? If you don't have to, if you don't like the show, you can just move along.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I do that. If there's shows that I don't care for or whatever, I don't write a bad review. I just let it go. I mean,
or you'd be like me. You don't read none of them.
I'm just saying. I mean, there are people who think it's on them to have to. It's like if you don't like it, just move along.
No,
you don't have to hurt somebody else's algorithm or anything else.
If you don't like my abrasiveness, try a different grade sandpaper.
That's a good point. Anyway, all of those things.
He's more of a 30 grit. I need more of a 3000.
He's more.
I need a little 30.
Say that. Anyway.
Ain't no more than 80, I can tell you that.
With all of those things being said, thanks guys for hanging out and having a conversation. Hope everybody enjoys it. Hope we enjoyed it. Was, like I said, it was just fun sitting here chit-chatting, and I appreciate it. And you guys all out there, take care of yourselves. Start the new year off the right way. Take responsibility for your driving. Mm-hmm. Amen. With all that being said, keep the hammer down.
In the hammer lane.
Ciao. Good night.